So Arcane cost $250 million to make, which is one of the most expensive animated TV shows ever in existence. Kind of insane. But is it worth it? So today we're going to be talking about my opinion of Arcane League of Legends as a project from a creative lens, and then also whether or not I think that it was worth it for Riot Games to spend $250 million on a 2-season TV show. Now, before we get into that, hey guys, I'm Brandon Chen. I am a professional writer and producer for the anime, manga, webtoon space. I run a studio that produces my stories. We start them as manga and webtoons, usually originals, and then the popular ones we scale to animation. And if you're interested in learning more about the business side or the creative side of creating stories like this, like Arcane or etc., make sure to drop a like for the YouTube algorithm to help support the video, and then also subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're notified when I put out more videos. So we're gonna break this video down into 3 different sections. 1, an analysis of the writing, 2, an analysis of the art of Arcane, and then 3, whether or not I think that this budget was worth it. And again, this budget analysis is going to be kind of more from an outside-in perspective. Again, I didn't work at Netflix. I don't have an inside part of the deal. Even if I did, I wouldn't be able to speak about it because of NDAs, right? So I don't. And then also, I'm not at Riot Games or Fortiche Animation Studios, so I do not have any insider info. This is an outside looking in, a lot of guesses, a lot of predictions. So just keep that in mind, that I could be completely off with all the numbers. Anyway, let's talk about the quality of the series, right? First, I'm going to give season 1. The writing of Arcane was a 9 out of 10 for me, and then the art was a 10 out of 10. And then I will give season 2 a 8 for writing, maybe a 7.5 to 8 for writing, and then a 10 for art. And now I'm going to explain probably why I think this, right? Arcane season 1 felt super well paced. It was super grounded. Every character, every story narrative felt like it had a connective tissue and a connective web, so that everything felt like it had purpose, which was amazing. It was amazing. And it felt like, I walked out of Arcane season 1 being like, I've never seen anything like this. This was incredible. So, I mean, and I don't even need to explain the art because from the art perspective, it was, again, revolutionary for the animation industry, and yeah, just globally acclaimed. So, and then season 2, while it was still strong narratively and extremely strong on the art side, again, pushing the boundaries of what's possible, I felt like I did not have the same connection to every single character that was there. I felt like some areas weren't particularly hitting for me, or some sub-narratives and some sub-characters. I think a lot of the main characters were done well, but a lot of the subplots and sub-characters, in my opinion, not a lot of them, a few of them, felt like they were probably not needed in the overall narrative of Arcane season 2. So a good example would be like the Black Rose sub-narrative. It did not feel like it had to be a part of the story. If you saw season 2, the Black Rose sub-narrative was a part of a character Mel's backstory, and it was meant to like build on her world, build on this secret society that exists from her homeland, but ultimately, in my opinion, just was very high concept, and it felt like there was not enough time or allocation of episode time to be able to really tie that into the main narrative in a really meaningful way, in my opinion. And then also like the way that Mel and her mom had their final battle, like it just felt like they were having a final battle, a duel, and then she pressed the cheat code, which was like summon her mom into the Black Rose realm, which is crazy. I just felt like, yeah, like someone else won your battle for you. And then after that, she like defeats this like mysterious like sister sorceress of some sort, which in my opinion did not feel like a very great arc for Mel's character. Every other character that was a main character, Jace, Vi, Kate, Jinx, Echo, felt amazing. Heimerdinger again was his going out kind of was like, all right, well, why? I just felt like they were just getting rid of him just to prevent like have to avoid putting him in the final arc. Yeah, I think there were some subplots such as the Black Rose and some sub-characters such as the drunkard guy that followed Vi around who had a parallel to Isha, who was Jinx's character that she picked up off the street. Both Vi and Jinx picked up characters off the street. Both of them don't speak, right, by the way? And both of them die. But Jinx's side character is a lot more interesting and Vi's is not that interesting. And again, I get it that they have parallels and all this stuff, but in my opinion, if they were going to spend that time on Isha, I think it would have been better if they also like fleshed out Vi's, little drunk guy that follows her around, that's huge character, a little bit more. And again, I think a lot of this was just mostly a pacing issue at the second half of the season. I think like if they had just done a 3rd season, which again, I know that this was never part of their plan, but if they had done a 3rd season, there was a lot more space to make that final arc of when after Victor ascends, it would make it a lot more well-paced. There would be more time for these characters. The Arcane producer, I believe he said that he removed an hour of time from episode 7, which was the Echo and Jinx relationship, which was an amazing episode. By not having the time or the space to put into like developing those characters more, it just felt kind of rushed for almost no reason. I feel like if they did another season, and maybe it was a budgeting reason why they didn't want to put more money, and we'll talk about this in the third part of the video, but like, yeah, I think again, if they had done a third season, a lot of these sub characters and subplots that felt, in my opinion, a little bit like overcomplicating the season 2 narrative would have been probably resolved in a really good way. But again, that didn't happen, so that's why I gave it an 8 out of 10. And now talking a little bit about the art of Arcane, you know, I think it's, again, season 2 specifically, some of the best that's been done ever in animation. There's even some hand-drawn elements that were in the series. There were some elements that were going between different art styles, such as charcoal, watercolor, painting, and then jumping back to the main style. It was really, you could tell, a labor of love for the artist, which was amazing to see. And I definitely walked out of Arcane, you know, I binged it, and I was like, wow, that was unlike anything that I've seen. Again, that was incredible. It felt amazing. It would be very difficult for another television show to ever be able to achieve something of that quality, because again, they had movie quality, and they also had a movie budget for this show. And you know, a big part of why Arcane is so hard to pull off is like, it is extremely high concept. Most animated shows are pretty grounded in like, hey, we're in reality, or hey, we're in a familiar fantasy world that is like very Lord of the Rings-esque. But this one is like, hey, we're building something where every city, every element, every character, even down to their very details of like the tattoos or everything, has meaning. And a lot of that requires a lot of meticulous effort and a lot of redos and high concept artists exploring these characters in a very deep way. And that takes a lot of like pre-production and a lot of years. Again, it took them like, I don't know, what, 7+ years to make this thing? And again, that's where this crazy $250 million budget really came in handy, I think. And then there's the music. I forgot to mention the music. The music, again, not just Arcane, but anything that League of Legends or Riot does has been killer. They're always really good with the music, and it felt like, even when I was watching Arcane, like you're watching a music video during a lot of those key moments, which was really awesome. And again, Riot music is just peak, and they've really showed their chops with the music and combining that with the animation and the narrative all into one go. Again, that was what made Arcane again stand. I was like, wow, this was something that was just absolutely insane. You know, I'm giving Arcane season 1 and 2 both a 10 because, I mean, there's nothing like it on the market, and I really personally enjoyed it as someone who also grew up playing League of Legends and being really into the lore and the narrative there. And, you know, you can definitely tell that there was an extreme focus on quality when they were creating the series. And whether or not you enjoy the Arcane story or not, I think you can just like look at it even with your ears plugged and be like, this is crazy, you know? And when you have a series like that, you just can't help but give it a 10, in my opinion. But was it worth this $250 million budget? Let's talk about my predictions. Again, this is with a grain of salt because I have no behind the scenes look into the Netflix deal, the Riot Games deal, and also Arcane and all that stuff. So my prediction is that I don't think that Netflix paid for this production. There might be some information about this out there, but I don't think Netflix paid for this production. I think Riot Games fronted the cost, the $250 million, from their own pocket. And the reason for this is because Riot Games makes billions of dollars on the League of Legends IP. And something that tends to happen when you're taking money from an investor is that they want some involvement or hands on your IP in some way. And whether or not that is just, hey, we have like a something deal on Arcane specifically, or we have a certain right to Arcane or merchandising right or whatever it is, I just have a feeling like Riot Games would never give that up, in my opinion. They have so much cash. It would not make sense, I think, for Riot Games to give up IP stake to like Netflix or another streamer. So usually to avoid anyone touching any of your IP or your rights to your merchandising or any of that kind of stuff, that just means you fund it yourself, and then you cut a deal with Netflix and you're like, hey, like, you know, you take X percentage of whatever Arcane makes just to distribute this thing that we made and we paid for. And then Netflix is like, yeah, we will take your $250 million project that you guys funded and we'll distribute it on our platform and we'll give you guys marketing dollars and everyone wins, right? And that's what probably the deal structure looked like, in my opinion. opinion. Again, who knows? So Riot Games dumped $250 million into a TV show. Let's say that's the assumption, right? Is that the best move? Because I was actually surprised by the $250 million play because, TV shows are known to cost less than movies. And that's because, with streamers, TV is distributed on usually streamers, no longer on cable because no one watches cable anymore. And as a result, TV is making less money directly to the producer of an individual show than usually a movie, right? And that's because movies have these like kind of theatrical releases that you can go to the movie theaters, get that box office income, and then usually they get the same thing where we go straight to streaming afterwards, right? And this is a big reason why even anime companies such as Demon Slayer will package like the pilot episodes, first 3 episodes, let's say, of like Demon Slayer season, whatever, put it in theaters. People can watch the anime episodes in theaters, even though it's technically TV. It's packaged as a movie release so that they can pocket the extra money that is coming out of like people purchasing tickets from the theaters, because there's more money in that than, or like more direct cash in that than like just putting on the streamer. In addition, like you also see like these anime, again, Demon Slayer, again, like the ending arc of Demon Slayer, the anime, they are also not doing a TV show. They're shifting from TV show to, hey, we're just making like multiple movies because we can cash in more money at the movie theaters than we can like directly on, distributing through like Crunchyroll or Netflix or whatever, right? But Arcane is only on Netflix. And it's one of their top shows on release, which is, great. But in my opinion, I don't think they're probably not making back that $250 million back through this Netflix deal, because it just seems like very improbable. But I don't think that Riot Games particularly cares. Arcane, in my opinion, is actually a really big brand play. Riot Games really wants to build League of Legends as an IP that can exist out of just video games. They're making multiple games, they're doing comics, they're doing novels, they're doing music, rap music. They're now doing this TV show, but I think they're going to be doing more. I think they announced they're doing more down the road. And it seems like the goal is to really build like a Disney universe, like where they franchise League of Legends to become like not just a video game company, but entertainment company that can not just span across, but dominate every possible medium of entertainment and make a really big cultural shift. I don't know, maybe one day they have like League of Legends, the freaking like theme park, just like Disney. I don't know. So Riot Games releases Arcane on the biggest streamer ever. Big tax write-off investment from Riot Games. Note, they made $1.5 billion last year, so this is a big chunk of their income, but it's not everything. And maybe they make some money back on their investment on Arcane, but technically let's say it's their part of their marketing budget. But I think the whole thing is to get people interested in the League of Legends story. And I see this all the time on social media. People are posting clips of Arcane and they're like, do I need to play League of Legends to watch Arcane? No. And then people watch Arcane and they're like, wait, I actually want to check out League of Legends or TFT or read the books. Like personally, I bought one of the League of Legends books, Ruination, after I watched the Arcane show. And then they have another book coming out based on Mel's mom. I forgot her name. And so because people are getting interested in the IP after watching Arcane, people are now aware of the League of Legends IP. They're like, oh, I was closed off because the video game was scaring me off. But now it's like, wow, Arcane got me in. I'm watching the music, and they want to find something that they're interested in. Not everyone has to be interested in League of Legends, the video game. They could be interested in 2XKO, which is their new game coming out in 2025. They could be interested in TFT. They could be interested in just the music. They could be interested in just the trailers, the comics, whatever it is. Riot is trying to create something that each individual can find a thing to consume. And that's the whole point of transmedia also, right? You create one big thing, and maybe that's Arcane, and maybe Arcane loses a ton of money, but it funnels fans into other mediums where they make a ton of money. Like again, their video game business. People who watched Arcane might try League of Legends and might spend a ton of money, and that might make up for that loss on Arcane. And the expensive money loser, Arcane, again, I'm assuming it's losing money, is just used to drive all those people to the other places that can just make that money back for Riot Games. It was really smart for Riot Games to really focus on creating something that was quality. I think that Blizzard tried something similar with the World of Warcraft film, like 10 years ago maybe. Didn't quite hit, but Arcane, they dumped so many years and so many, they just focused on quality, and that was all that mattered. Insane budget, just make it the best thing possible and get the world buzzing. And because now the world is buzzing about Arcane, not only is this helping their brand for League of Legends, other streamers are probably super hungry for their next project. I don't think maybe they have an exclusivity deal with Netflix, who freaking knows, or a first look deal, but my assumption is if Amazon came to them and was like, hey, we'll host your next TV show on Demacia. I don't know. And then Riot Games like, yeah, let's like co-fund this thing, or we'll fund it again. Just to let us release on your platform for a better deal. There's probably some world where, yeah, Riot Games now has Arcane as a proof of concept for the entertainment, like Hollywood or, you know, animation space, that now has the world super interested in their next, in where they're going to put their next project. Anyway, again, this is just my outside looking in analysis. I could be wrong about all of this. Arcane is the best thing that I've seen all year by far. So I definitely recommend you guys check it out if you haven't yet. And hopefully you guys enjoyed my analysis, both from a writing, art, and also the business side of why they made the series. And yeah, this is the end of the video. Make sure to drop a like again to support and comment. Chloe, shut up. And please comment whether or not you thought that the $250 million budget for Arcane was actually worth it, and tell me why, because I'm curious on your opinions. My opinion, it was worth it. All right, guys, thanks so much. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. Boop.